Okay, the Detroit Lions have a sneaky good signing. I think it kind of went under the radar. It happened like 6 days ago, and I think a lot of us probably missed it. But I also think that this was probably a player that we signed in the middle of the season last year, where most of us were like, yeah, he actually got some stuff done. And if we put him back to where he needs to be, he would be a good, not necessarily hugely impactful, but definitely helpful player for us going forward. And that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that, plus a guy who seems to be dropping in the NFL draft and whose skills far outweigh our draft pick. And so he looks like he could be falling to us. Both of these are on the defensive line. So let me ask you this question first. Who is your favorite Detroit Lions defensive lineman of all time? Who is it? Who is your favorite Detroit Lions defensive lineman of all time? And I think we've actually had enough defensive linemen where I'm not even going to hold you back. Now, I got to tell you, I got two: Robert Porcher and Luther Ellis. Like, I loved watching those guys. But anyways, that's not what this is about. We actually want to have the conversation about who we have re-signed. And here's what we're looking at. Al-Quadin Muhammad has returned to the Detroit Lions with a $1 million contract extension. He wants to talk about, how he wants to inspire his son and things like that. All of that's great. I love that, right? I have a son and I want to inspire him in what I do as well. But I think there's a lot of misconception about who Al-Quadin Muhammad is. He's almost 30 years old. He will be 30 years old, actually, as I'm recording this, in 3 days. On March 28th, he will be 30 years old. And I think what's interesting about this guy is we think maybe he's a young guy, that he has just never really gotten a fair shake. He's never gotten a good opportunity. That's flat out not true. I'm actually amazed at how much opportunity he's gotten. I love looking at PFF for stuff. So when you look at his PFF numbers, he was drafted by the Saints, really didn't play there, was moved to the Colts in 2018 and was there for 4 years and never played less than 483 snaps and topped out at 800 snaps. We don't even remember he played for the Bears in 2022. Then he was in the league. He didn't play any snaps in 2023. And all of a sudden he resurfaces with the Lions. This is a man who is inspired because he thought his NFL career was over. He thought it was done. Nobody gets these kind of opportunities, but he was able to come and produce at a level similar to what he produced at with the Colts. Here's the fun thing about this with Al-Quadin Muhammad. He produced at this level for the Lions while just being thrown into the fire. He was thrown into the fire. And some of his grades show that he had good games and he had really bad games. And part of that might simply be a talent thing. But I think for the most part, what that was a what am I doing thing. And it's hard when you sign on and you play your first game of the year in week 8. It makes it really difficult. This is a worthwhile signing to me, but this is a guy who has 5 years of playing well over 400 snaps and almost all of them over 500 snaps. 4 of the 5 years over 500 snaps, cultivating in an 800 snap season where he continued to produce at a high enough level. At a high enough level. Honestly, not that bad. And then he comes to Detroit in the middle of the year and he gets things going. So here's what I want to talk about. Al-Quadin Muhammad. And I want to look at our depth chart real quick. I want to just we can take a look at this if I can get rid of all the ads. I love our lads, but man, oh man, do they have some ads. All right. So this is our defensive backfield, or not backfield, but our defensive ends. You have Aiden Hutchinson on one side. You have Marcus Davenport on the other. It's very confident that Davenport at some point will probably be hurt. Our interior defensive line is set, right? DJ Reader, Lee McNeil, Roy Lopez, Levi Nwuzurike. Honestly, we have a good 3-man rotation, even if Aleem McNeil is slow to get back. And then you have Mekhi Wingo and Pat O'Connor behind them. What about at defensive edge? All right, they have Nowaski and Pascal as our backup edges. I would actually put it as Al-Quadin Muhammad. Now, I would put him here over Nowaski. So Pascal and Muhammad as your backup edges. Defensive ends, if you're wondering what I mean when I say edge. That's not terrible. I would like Al-Qudi Muhammad to be DN number 5 on the team if humanly possible, but 4's not bad. 4 is not bad. And he's in there and he's competing with guys like Isaac Ukwu and Nate Lynn, right? And Mitchell Agude. Those are the other guys that he's there. I think he's firmly ahead of them. Remember when we signed him, it was him and Isaiah Thomas. And I think every Lions fan was like, oh, Isaiah Thomas from the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, because we have an Isaiah. We got Zeke, right? Isaiah Thomas with the Pistons. It just felt like that's going to be the guy that's better. And maybe this will show you an even better view of like, this is what we've got going on in our edge room. Yes, it is very heavy with Hutch. He was the number 1 graded player last year on PFF. There has to be more. I agree. But Al-Qudi Muhammad is a solid depth piece. He can come in a pinch and he can produce at a good level. Now, here's what's interesting. There is a player that is dropping. And I understand we talk about character flaws and character issues and things like that. And this is the time of year. We got 1 month until the draft. This is the time of year where agents are out there spreading rumors and lies about some players and at the same time denying all the rumors about their own players. Like that's the way that works because they want players to shift up and down boards, and their job is to get the most money they can possibly get for their player. Well, defensive edge Mike Green. I would like to introduce you to this guy. Mike Green out of Marshall, the Thundering Herd. All right, here's the deal. He has denied engaging in wrongdoing and has never been formally charged with violating the law, but he was asked about a pair of sexual assault charges that were made against him in the past. Here's what his response to that was. He said, there's a lot of talk out there, and it's just a bunch of people that really don't know what actually happened. I've never done anything wrong. I've never been charged with anything. My main focus right now is just telling these teams everything that they need and want to know. It's just a little frustrating just seeing online that everybody just has something or everything to say, and it's not the case. Look, that's frustrating for him. I understand that. I don't know exactly what was going on, if I can be completely honest. I don't know. So when I look at this, I don't know what to say, but if it can bring a talented guy like this down to 28 and the Detroit Lions have to be the ones to do their due diligence. I've often said I can look at film, I can look at tape, and I can see how talented a guy is. I can't determine if he's a good fit or a good mentality. The Detroit Lions will have to figure out that one. All right. That's what the Lions will have to figure out. But Mike Green is a guy that absolutely can do some things. And when you ask about what kind of things I'm talking about, it's, well, quite frankly, things like, and I'm going to show them to you right now. It's things like this that he can accomplish, which he did during the Senior Bowl. Let me get this picked up right here. Check this one out. Boom. I love I don't know if you could hear the announcement on it. I don't think you could, but oh my goodness gracious. But anyways, yes, he actually made that play and bolted. So like, this is the kind of guy that could absolutely inject some of that pass rushing life on pass rushing situations that could so desperately be helpful with Aiden Hutchinson and this defensive line in general. So, hey, we look at these couple things. Al-Qudi Muhammad, nothing splashy, but a sneaky good signing that I think most of us didn't notice. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.